So for our next talk, I would like to call Mr. Ankit from Optimizory team to discuss. So please.
Brightness. So, good evening everyone. So we'll start this session from the point where we left our previous session given by Mr. Bharat, and it was automating the workflows in Jira. So automations are most important and very powerful tool, a feature which is provided in Jira, and I'm sure we are not using it to its full power. Automations are very powerful tool, and it may have happened with you that you are stuck in a constant loop where you are just repeating the same task again and again, where you are not controlling Jira, Jira is controlling you, where you are repeating the same task again and again, and you might think that you can automate it. That is where automating the workflows comes into picture. So you can not only save your time, but your energy, which can be used in more important tasks. So before starting the session, we should discuss two very important terms in this session. The first one is automation. So if you have any idea what are automations, not in perspective of Jira, we can talk outside of Jira, what are automations, if you can tell me. Anyone? Automate the tasks, and how it happens, how does it know that it has to run a... Yes, exactly. So there are triggers to run automations. Those triggers, it can be event with some human intervention that we triggered it, the action will be taken by the system, but we intervened, and it can also be scheduled or periodic based. It might run once in a week or twice in a week, or it can be event based. So these are automations. And the second thing, workflows in Jira. So we are all working in Jira, so we might know what are workflows, but let's just understanding with the basic. So when you create an issue in Jira, it follows a path, it follows a journey, it transitions through different states. When you create it, it's generally in to-do state, then you start working on it, and by the end it's in closed state or done state. So the journey it takes is its workflow. Then we have priority, it may change with time. So all these things are part of workflows in Jira. So in this session we'll understand how do we automate the workflows in Jira. So first of all, how is it helpful for us? So for example, let's take example of a scheduled automation, that in your company you are running a automation every week. You are creating a issue every week, that is manual. You are creating issue every week which accounts for all the work done in past week, and you are creating it manually. Now there are chances of human errors. You can create errors because you are doing it repeatedly. There are chances that you can create error, and it also increases the load of work, which further decreases your efficiency. Now if you automate this task, because this is repetitive, you have to create issue every week. If you automate it, you can save your time, and not only your time, you can save your energy. So three most important components in automation. The first one is trigger point. Now trigger point, as I explained, human intervention. In Jira's perspective, it can be when issue is created, or when it changes its state, or when any particular field is updated. That can be a trigger point, or it can be scheduled. And the condition is optional. You may want to take action depending upon the condition. If it triggered, you may not want to take action. And then we have finally action. Action and trigger point are required fields. Action defines our automation, that what action is going to be performed. So these are automations. So let's create some automations now. So this is my Jira instance, as you can see, and if I go to projects, I'll select one of my project, and if you scroll down to your left panel, you will find project settings. And in project settings, we have our automations. So if you click on templates, you will find these predefined rules already created for you. These are the rules which Jira has already created for you. Now, these are very self-explanatory. Like if you read it, when all subtasks are done, move parent to done. You can understand it by just reading it. This is not technical. And this one, when parent is done, move all subtasks to done. It is manual task, but now you can automate it. It will save your time. Now doing this once is okay, but doing this again and again, it is very manual, very hectic. So let's create a custom rule now, but what we can do, we can use one of these rules and we can build up our customized rule, or we can create a custom rule from scratch. So these predefined rules may change. If you have a software-based project, these will change. But creating a rule is exactly same for every kind of project. So let's create a rule. As I said, adding a trigger is a required. We need it. So first, let's understand what is the use case. What are we going to create? So my use case is, as I'm a developer, whenever any issue is assigned to me, and if that issue is epic, I want to receive a message on Slack that if there is any epic issue, I want, because generally what happens, epic issues, we create epic issues for more major tasks. So if there is any major task, I want to get notified on Slack. So let's create an automation for this. That is now. So trigger point will be issue assignee, that if issue is assigned to me. So in assignee field, so now this automation will run whenever his issue is assigned to anyone. But I want that if issue is assigned to me, then only take action. So as I said, condition is optional field, but we need it here. So I'll add on assignee, that if assignee equals me. So it's not technical, it's just like reading English language, that if assignee equals, or there are multiple options where you can play with. So if assignee equals me, then take action. And the action that we want to take is we want to integrate external app, that is Slack. So here you will need to configure your webhook. If you click on this rule, okay. So here you will need to log in. As I've already logged in, so that step is completed for me. Here you will provide where do you want to receive messages. So I want to receive messages personally, and it has provided me a webhook URL, which I'll paste here. Okay, we will need to add one more condition, that is if issue type is epic, that condition is missed here. So it will work, it will now work for every issue, but we want only for epic issues. So we'll add one more condition here. First let's give it a unique name. That is issue type is equals epic. So now I also want to share issue key. So sending data to message. Here we are going to use a very important concept, which is smart values in automations. So if you use double curly braces with issue is a fixed keyword here. So issue dot key. If you use a structure like this, you will be able to use all the properties of your issue, and you can refer to a very well documented documentation provided by Jira, which explains everything about smart values. You can use smart values in your automations like so. and after saving your rule, you can actually use this. So let's test it. Now I will assign this issue. So I assign this issue to someone else, the condition will fail and the action will not be taken. But if I assign it to me, now condition has passed and I will receive message. So as you can see, this is my Slack and I have received message, the epic issue is assigned to you. So this automation that we just created is now working for us. And it is very helpful. I can just focus on it right away that there is an epic issue assigned to me. Now this was example of a event based trigger that we created an event and now automation is running. Let's talk about a scheduled event. So what happens? Now this is a scheduled event. What happens every day around 12 p.m. I check for all the issues which are highest priority and are not assigned to anyone. No one is working on high priority issues. So what I do, I assign all of them to me and I do it every day. It's a constant task that I'm working on. I want to automate it now. So as a developer, I do it every day. Now, if I go back to rules, create rule, you will find this scheduled trigger here, which you can configure. Now here you can specify, I want to run it once every week, twice every week, but I want to run it every day, once every day at 12 a.m. Now there is this very important concept is that when we were working with event-based trigger, our automations knew exactly on which issue it has to take action. So in this case, in the previous example, it knew that we have to work on this issue, so it took action on this issue. But scheduled, it does not know. It is running periodically, so it does not know where to take action. So we need to specify the set of issues we want to work with. So by clicking on this option, we need to provide a JQL here, and the issues which will be fetched here, actions will be taken on each issue. So I have already created this rule to save time on this session. So my schedule task, again creating this rule, it's just simple, just like reading English language. Every day it will run. If assign is empty, on each issue it will assign that issue to me. So this is how this scheduled event will work. So we have also understood about event-based trigger and about scheduled trigger. You will need to explore it yourself. We understood the basics of event-based triggers and schedule, but you will need to identify the tasks at your end which are repetitive to automate them. Now, let's talk about their scope. So the automations that we just created, it was project based. It was only working for single project. But what if we wanted to run on multiple projects? So in that case, we can use a feature which is global automations. So if I click on this option, or if I go to system, and global automations, here you can create automations which will run globally. Now again, creating automation is exactly same. There is no change in concept. So if I click on this automation now, which we created for single project, you will find one extra field, a configurable field, which is scope. Now if I select scope to be multiple, I can select all the projects where I want to run my automation, or I can also select globally. It will run this automation on every single project. So this is how scopes work. We can use single automation on multiple projects. Now let's move ahead and talk about branching. Now when I was discussing the components in automation, there is fourth component as well, that is branching. So what is branching? There may be a case when you want to take action on child issues. event is triggered on issue, but you want to take action on child issues, on subtasks, on linked issues. In that case, we will use this branching feature provided in automation. Now, the problem that I face is when parent issue is transitioned to done or completed or closed, I want all child issues to change in that same state. If parent is moved to closed, I want all child issues to be closed as well. So how to do it? Let's see. Again in project settings, automation. So I want trigger point to be assignment. When issue is transitioned from any state to, let's say, to done. When issue is transitioned to done from any state, that is our trigger point. And in that case, I want to add a branch where on all the child issues, and I want to take action. I want to move all the children to say that same state as well. So action will be transition issue and copy from parent. Now turning this rule on and give it a unique name, more meaningful name you can give. Now let's test this rule that we just created. So this is my epic issue and I have my child issues. Now none of these child issues are in done state right now. It was already in done. So if I move to done now and reload, so all my child issues are in done now. So this is how you can use automations. You have to identify at your end the repeated tasks you are doing, and it will save your time when your software is handling all the actions. So let's talk about the uses of it. In the audit logs, you can actually check when your automation was running, when did you update it, and in your usage. Now, using automations for single project is free of cost. You can use it as much as you want, but using global administration is a part of your premium plan. You get 100 automations executions per user per month, but beyond that you will need premium package. So it was all about automations. We have just understood all the basic things in automations. You will need to explore this topic at your end to understand it more. This is very powerful tool, and it not only saves your time but your energy. And if you have any queries regarding automations, you can always reach out to our LinkedIn page, and if there are any questions and feedbacks.
So can we add multiple actions in the same rule?
We can add multiple actions in the same rule. You can add, there is no limit to that.
Information about Slack, I think it was very useful thing. Just think, like, can we also set it to the channel, Slack channel?
It may require some permissions, but we can do it.
But it is allowable for the Slack channels as compared to the single person Slack.
Sorry, can you repeat?
You demonstrated it's coming to you, right? At the same time, if we have a channel,
Yes.
Slack channel, which is handling the whole problem,
Yes.
so it can be transferred to the channel.
Yes, sir, we can do it.
There is already a Jira bot for Slack automation basic model. So you can use that bot to automate, for example, if you want to send message on some event, so you can send to any channel or, and that is as per the rule basis.
So if there are,
What all external apps we can connect? Like we can connect it to GitHub Actions.
we can connect GitHub Action, and there is very.
I have connected it to
For example, if there is any epic issue assigned to you, you can directly create a branch in GitHub. So this is very useful case. So thank you so much for attending the session.
So let me go to one of us so that we can follow the channel once again.
Yes. Okay. Oh, thank you so much.